So how was the paper, my little Singhams? 12:40 p.m. I got the first message from one of my students about the ICSE English language paper for class 10, and the reaction largely has been one of delight because at least three questions were related to directly or indirectly to stuff we had done as part of our course on English language, also as part of the SWS test series. If you have seen the picture composition, the argumentative essay, also the informal letter. Okay, but let me first point out the major problem with this English language paper, the notice and email. It talks about March 22nd is World Water Day. The School Dramatics Club is planning to stage a one-act play. So write a notice to be put up on the notice board. So obviously this question paper was prepared sometime in December, January when there was no talk of postponement. Okay, so they thought of February end is when the examination will take place. So March 22nd sounds okay. They obviously did not revise the English language paper. And this is a blunder because students do not know whether they should write 2022, which is a date gone by, or whether they should write 2023, which is what? 11 months away. Right? You normally write a notice for some event which is going to be held, say, 10 days or 2 weeks from now. In fact, to most students, I had said 25th of April. So put the notice date as 5th of May or 6th of May, just about that 10 to 12 days gap, right? Now, this obviously led to a lot of confusion because students have either written 2022 or 2023, both of them obviously not correct. Some students have taken the liberty of writing May 22, okay, thinking that that would be more logical. I would request the council examiners not to penalize the students for this date blunder which has happened because of what the council's, the person who has set the paper has done, or because of the council's inability or forgetfulness to actually recheck the paper. So that is as far as this particular notice and email is concerned. What would you write as a creative title? Water Act seems to be the most logical one. Water Act, and also Water Act gives you a sense of almost as if it's a piece of legislation, right? Many students have written things like the nectar of life, which also would work. Water is wealth is another one which some students have written. And the email is pretty simple, pretty elementary. Write an email to the principal of a neighboring school asking them to send a team of children. We had done several emails practicing a very similar kind of thing, asking students to come for some competition or the other. In this case, it's an interactive session. Fine. In fact, if you recall, we had done a notice and an email. Now I remember about water, asking a drama group to come and stage their very popular play called Water in our school premises as part of the celebrations, right? If you would recall, you can go and look at our SWS test series, the same thing about water as the theme. Let me just move up the same paper. Let me look at the letter after this. Your favorite aunt, uncle has asked you. It gives a lot of happiness when things you have done and things very similar to that, very, very similar. 19-20 ka farak comes in the paper. It makes it so much easier for your students in particular. Your favorite aunt, uncle has asked you what would like as a gift for your birthday. We had done something about a letter written to the grandfather thanking him for the birthday gift. Okay, so this is just slightly different. That was thanking him, but describing the birthday gift and how it would be useful. In this case, it is about what you would like as a gift for your birthday. So pretty similar. You just need to tweak it accordingly. You are being considered. The formal letter topic was quite good. You are being considered for a head boy, head girl position in a school. Write a letter to the principal explaining why you think you would make a good head boy or head girl. Very interesting. You could talk about the leadership role that I would take, that I would ensure better coordination between the teachers and the students. I would ensure that there is discipline in the school. I would ensure that more extracurricular activities are encouraged. More students are encouraged to take up more co-curricular or extracurricular activities in school. I would want to coordinate with some kind of NGO so that our students can go out and do things outside the classroom in order to have more practical life learning. So you could list out about 3-4 of these kind of areas in which how you would pitch yourself to apply for the position of a head boy or the head girl. But pretty good topic, I thought. This one was good. Okay, let us now move to the essays. The narrative, the first one, if you were granted a special wish. Now, in fact, I told our students that, it's quite likely that you would get a very generic kind of a topic. The kind of topics we had discussed, for instance, we had prepared the students, for instance, narrate an incident, where you kind of you managed to overcome your biggest fear. We spoke about the fear of public speaking, the fear of singing in public, the fear of dancing in public, that kind of stuff. This is slightly different, and I thought it was a little vague, this particular question. Write a short story in which the main characters are an old woman, a small child, and a little puppy. Interesting, but it would need some thought. So I always say, if you are not one of those students who is good at storytelling, never go in for original story. In this case, a few students have attempted. The plot that came to my mind was about a little child. A small child does not mean an infant. A small child could be a 5 to 6 years old, 7 years old kind of a child, and a small puppy playing in the park, and there they see an old woman who is sitting and she smiles at them. So there are this kind of, general friendly glances, and suddenly they see the old woman collapsing. The puppy is the one who raises an alarm, and they the puppy barks, the child calls out for help, and they manage to get the doctors and the paramedics, and they manage to rush her to hospital and save her life, right? So that could have been one kind of a story that came to my mind immediately on reading this particular question. Argumentative. More learning happens outside the classroom than inside it. We had done an essay about composition, about how sports period is so essential. So you could really pick up some points directly from that, about how the experience of cinema is very important. So if you are working, say for instance, as a production person in a cinema, it will give you an idea, so that later on when you see it on the big screen, okay, this shot would have been taken like this shot would have been edited like this is how the music would have been mixed. So in the sense that instead of reading about it in theory books, when you do practical experience, you get more experience. You go and work in a slum area along with an NGO, you get more experience of how things actually work. As we say in journalism, you would actually get your hands dirty, and only when you get your hands dirty do you get better understanding of life in general than reading about it in textbook. Sports period, very important. Team building skills, leadership skills, bonding skills, those are the kind of things. So even if you picked up a lot of the points from that sports composition, which was also there in our test series, which we had put out for those students who are not enrolled into the full course, they would have really gained a lot from it. Okay, so we are pretty much on the right track. Describe a time when all the lights in your locality went off. We did an essay about what happens if you're just about to retire to bed and there is an earthquake. Here it's a case of what were the sounds you heard as you sat in the darkness. Pretty much the same. You need to convey that emotion of fear, of anxiety, of apprehension, and feeling lonely, and you don't know how to kind of deal with the situation. Pretty much the same. The drama had to come, the sense of sight, the darkness, the sounds that you hear, right? You can smell something pungent at that time when the electricity wire has probably burnt, and you can smell the thing. The senses had to be kind of conveyed. That's what makes a good descriptive essay. That one we had done it as a narrative essay. Okay. Finally, the picture composition. We had done an essay on child labor. If you just go to the picture composition folder of our SWS test series, right, you would find a picture composition in which some data has also been given, which kind of lends weight to the whole thing. Of course, it's written as a story. The same thing can be written as a story here also. This boy, in fact, there are two boys. This picture is not very clear. The two boys kind of doing a car mechanic job, repairing some kind of or probably changing the tire of the silver colored vehicle, which also seems to have undergone some damage because the front bumper is damaged, has come apart. So it's about child labor, about children not going to school. We have done another one about a child writing ABCD on the very misty car window, right? Again, we had linked it to the fact that he does not go to school. So we have done another picture composition of a boy sitting and reading his textbook while his father, who is a cobbler, is doing his work of mending shoes. So we have done these three different ones, all dealing with school dropouts, child labor. All that had to come into this. All those elements, you just pick up elements from the three essays and just put into it. I have written all those three essays as part of the SWS test series and the English language group. So a lot of it coming from what we have prepared. So I'm sure all of you have also done equally well. So the beginning has been done. Please prepare for the English literature paper well enough. You can rest for a while and ensure that you read the text. We are going to have 3 sessions later this evening rolling out from 6:30 onwards. An MCQ session, a session of subjective question and answers on Merchant of Venice, followed by a sessions on subjective question and answers on Treasure Trove, in which you will get to see how a subjective answer for a 3 mark, 2 mark, 4 mark is supposed to be written. Meaty, absolutely high quality stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.